A journey of 1,000 miles, they say, begins with a step. More profound is the intentional steps God leads children through for impact and advancement of His kingdom. For the last 2 decades, New Estate Baptist Church Surulere is grateful for an amiable soldier of Christ who is best described as a prayer warrior, excellent administrator, pragmatic leader, and an approachable personality. Born on the 6th of May 1965 in Kakuri, Kaduna, to late Mr. and Mrs. Kunat Achi Katun of Dipsy in Zango of Kataf, local government area of Kaduna State, Reverend Dr. Amos Achi Kunat has since been a gift to mankind. His first school leaving certificate was in 1978 and the General Certificate of Education GCE in 1985. He then bagged his first degree in theology from the Nigerian Baptist Theological Seminary, Ogbomoso, in 1987, and a Bachelor of Arts degree in Religious Studies from the University of Ibadan in 1994. His quest for additional knowledge earned him a Master of Arts degree in Religious Studies, specializing in Christian theology from the University of Ibadan in 2008, and then a doctorate degree in missional discipleship from New York Theological Seminary, New York City, USA in 2021. Reverend Dr. Kunat encountered Christ on the 8th of December 1978 and later on answered the call to gospel ministry in 1990.
When we got married newly, as a young pastor's wife, I was afraid that, because he uses his energy when he is ministering. He ministers with his entirety. So that time, whenever he is ministering, when we come, I would be afraid, this man may fall down. No, this man, something may happen to him. So one day, I couldn't keep it to myself again. We went, that was in Enugu, that was our first place of call, So I went to him, I said, dear, please, so be taking it easy. Just calm down and work. This one that we are doing like this. He said, he just tapped me at the back. He said, don't worry, my wife. God has anointed me for this work and He will not forsake me. And since then, I stopped disturbing myself because I know that once God approves of something and once the anointing is there, He is capable of carrying the person to the end.
Since July 1st of 1994, when he commenced full-time pastoral ministry as pastor of First Baptist Church, Wani, Enugu, he never took his hands off the plow on advancing the gospel of Christ Jesus.
Reverend Kunat is a person that is divinely positioned for the task that is given in the Bible, especially that task of go ye in Matthew chapter 28, verse 19 to 20.
Highly spiritual, and he's someone that has the prophetic word, I'll put it that way. We always have what we call the word for the year, what's the prophetic word for the year, and we also have something for the month as well. I've come to find out personally and in my family that word, whenever we receive the word for the year, that it always is very impactful in our lives. We run with it, we believe in it, and it always comes to pass. It always works for us. So we know that Reverend Kunat is someone that receives the word, he hears from God, and when he says the word as the Lord gives it to him, it always comes to pass. So it's an amazing thing that we've experienced in relation to Reverend Kunat and his ministry.
He started a prayer that every member of the church embraced so well. That even in the morning, we found it difficult to miss that prayer, early morning prayer, that he built us up with, made us to be, part of a prayer team. And spiritually, in fact, in so many ways, his ministration has given me a lift in life.
It was evident that he took the ministry of prayer extremely seriously. He made specific adjustments, schedules, programs for the church, which was focused on prayer, not just use the standard routine prayer meetings like we used to have, like say Wednesday midweek prayer, but actually setting up things like Jubilee hour on Friday and other specifics like that.
Proceeding from Victory Baptist Church, Ajah, Lekki, where he served from November 1999 to February 2002, Reverend Dr. Amos Achikunat resumed as pastor of New Estate Baptist Church, Surulere on March 1, 2002. At his induction on April 8, 2002, his mandate for the church was summed up in a sermon titled Uprooting Every Evil Plant, with Bible reference from Matthew 15, verse 13.
One of the first sermons that he preached was on the issue of taskmasters, serving taskmasters, and how God delivers you from serving taskmasters. At that period in time, I was just leaving the bank, and I was a deputy MD of a bank. However, and I went into the business of frozen fish. This made us to go into a lot of debt. We're talking about hundreds of millions. But when Reverend Kunat came, he preached that sermon and he hit the two of us, my wife and I. He said, what you are trying to do was speaking as an oracle of God. What you are trying to do, please don't give up. Continue to do it. God is about to deliver you from the hands of the taskmasters. When we are talking about taskmasters in frozen fish, we are talking about people who import frozen fish and you buy from them and you sell. This made us to go into a lot of debts. People who are buying from us were not paid. So we were owing the banks, we were owing the suppliers. But after that sermon, we keyed into it and we said, we are not giving up. We are starting this new business and God will see us through. We believed God for it. One way or the other, God showed up. I'm sure Reverend Kunat himself will remember that, I can't remember what title he gave that sermon that day, but that made a great impact in our lives. And we paid all the debts, we did the business, paid all the debts, and to the glory of God, we can say indeed, God showed up and we are delivered from the taskmasters.
Times where I have, like under the administration, I have spoken to God about certain things, and then it's always in line with what the message is given to the brethren. So I always came to that, and there were times where when I wasn't working, I didn't have a job, and I would listen to the administration, and then sometimes I would break down because I just felt like things were not going in a certain way I wanted it to go, and then after a long while, everything was back in place.
When he came, we used to have this Jubilee prayer on Sunday mornings. We have it before the main service, and I normally come for it. Those days my children were younger, but I tried as an upcoming mother to come to the service. And that was my first time that somebody would give a prayer point. And when you are praying, You're using your whole might and zeal to say the prayer. And he will be asking, are you praying? I say, this man, does he want to kill somebody? When you are praying and you are sweating like this and somebody is asking you, are you praying? So I said, what kind of man is this that he will be praying, he will be sweating? And after that prayer session, he will go home and go and change and then come in for the main service. And during those times, I will tell you that my life was impacted. Some issues that I had in the office, they were cleared off. I was promoted. I was given double promotion. I've never experienced this before, and I've not had other people say it. I don't know, maybe it has happened to somebody, but I was given double promotion. I was promoted, and shortly after then, I was promoted again. So I really, it marveled me that, wow, so somebody can actually be praying like this and God will be working for you. It's not that I wasn't used to praying, but his own prayer life changed my prayer life a lot.
Through the years, his apostolic grace has greatly enhanced the network of churches in the New Estate Baptist family through the birth of not less than 35 new churches around major cities in Nigeria, apart from a few more in Burkina Faso. Pastor Kunat has held different positions in the denomination, from associations, conferences, and the Nigerian Baptist Convention, including most recently the office of the chairman of the Nigerian Baptist Convention and chancellor of Bowen University, Iwo.
One thing with Reverend Kunat is that he's all about missions. To him, missions is number one. So the support that we require, he's always there to give. And with our programs, he encourages us and always tries to find out how is it going in the ministry and what's the feedback.
One thing that strikes me about Reverend Kunat is that he shares his pulpit. It's not easy for a pastor to share his pulpit with any other pastor. Take, for instance, somebody comes to New Estate and he preaches beautifully well, and the administration touches people. The tendency is there for people to follow him to his local church. So there will be a kind of movement of worshippers from New Estate to that church. But Reverend Kunat is not afraid of that. He preaches the gospel. He preaches Christ and him crucified. One thing I must say is that name the preacher in Lagos or even in Nigeria that is well known. One way or the other, you must have come to New Estate to preach the gospel through Reverend Kunat.
He had obviously come into the church at a time when being a peacemaker, being a man of peace, someone who can manage a very delicate situation was highly needed. Reason being that, in my opinion, the situation he came into was where lay leaders had done an excellent work of trying to make peace. We've had a crisis. Leaders had come up who managed that crisis to a point where the church was settling down. But in those circumstances, there was bound to be a lot of, let's wait and see. Let's see what this pastor will do. And the way he had handled issues that have come up clearly had made him a man of peace. I'm not sure that he came, thinking I'm going there to make, peace, but he has had to handle very serious challenges in a very, very mature way.
There are times, when we talk about the Baptist issues, there are times you will come back from meetings like that, you will be emotional. Sometimes you cannot even eat because of all the, works, but I am always there to at least talk to him, you know, to make him know that God has called him into this ministry and he has to pursue it to the end.
Worthy of mention is how Reverend Dr. Kunat's ministry grew the church finances from a budget of 59 million naira in 2002 to its current average of 250 million naira annually.
If you look at it from the financial aspect, you look at our books today and look at our books as that when he became pastor, I mean, there's been tremendous progress.
The prolific leader and author of 2 published works with numerous unpublished works to his name is intentional about every flock within his care, especially his lovely wife, Mrs. Esther Kunat, and their amiable children.
I would describe him as a wonderful man, as a man of God, the preacher of the word of God, the gospel of God. He is so passionate with his work. He is a man that is zealous for his own mission. He has a mission that God has given him, and he pursues it with all sense of diligence. And I know that he has been doing it right from the time we met. Okay, I will say that I've known him we have been married for 29 years now, and I've known him for about 38 years. And I can say categorically that he is so passionate when it comes to his work as a preacher of the gospel. And I want to say here that he lives what he preaches. And I want to appreciate God for a gift. I used to tell people that care to listen to me, I used to say, God just dashed me a husband, you know, because sincerely speaking, he's a wonderful man.
It's been interesting because when we came here in 2002, I can remember a lot of things from then. It's been amazing because I've just seen a lot of growth. You know, it's been different stages of church life, you know, from 2002 to 2022. You know, different stages of church life. I've seen him, you know, handle various issues. I've seen him, you know, just be an inspiration to a lot of people, start up new projects here. And it's been deeply inspiring, I must say. Deeply inspiring. But I've also seen him grow in his ability to lead and manage people, you know, and basically it has been deeply inspiring, I would say.
Well, Daddy is an amazing man and with a large heart, really. Over the few years that I've gotten to know him, you know, as a pastor, a father to my husband and his siblings, and my father-in-law, he's been very, very interesting, fun to be with, humorous, and really, really amazing. He has a very, very large heart, and that's one thing I can say, you know, that has been consistent with him.
Yeah, I think the very first thing would be I've seen him model a father, a servant of God, and in different ways. I think one very clear picture that I can't forget is seeing him go to pray every morning. Sometimes I remember the time I used to tell my mom that I could sometimes go like 3 days without seeing him, but he's in this compound. So before I wake up, he has gone to pray, and I go to school, I come back, he's probably still in the office. So he's literally always praying. And I think that's just one image I can't really get out of my head, the fact that he's a man of prayer. I think we all have an understanding, myself and my siblings have an understanding of what Christianity should be. That's because he has modeled an amazing example to us. We've been having family prayers and, you know, sharing the word together since we were babies, since we came back from the hospital after being born. So it's literally became our lives, and we've seen him serve, and it just, I don't know, it just became our thing, like he can't be serving and we're just there. So I think seeing him do these things, you know, has really helped us to just flow. He hasn't forced anyone to do anything. We just, you know, see him and we emulate, and it shows that he's a good leader, really. So yeah.
Reverend Amos Kunat is my dad. He's my friend, he's my pastor, he's my companion. He's like an elder brother to me in many ways. We share things with each other. I share his clothes sometimes. I use his property, and I've gotten so comfortable around him that I literally like interacting with him. Sometimes when I'm not around, I feel his absence, find the need to call him, find the need to talk to him. So we've developed that friendship over the last 1 year. We've bonded a lot more in terms of my spiritual life, in terms of my financial life, in terms of my emotional life. He's very involved in my life, and that's what I really like about him.
The man the church celebrates is the longest serving pastor in the history of the church. He wins souls, nurtures dreams, and guides both the young and old under his leadership. He was, is, and will continue to be a blessing to the church and the world at large.
I've been working with him closely for 12 years now, and his prayer life has impacted a lot in my life and family. In fact, the way he prays has gingered my own level of prayer and commitment to God, and I've learned a lot from him.
Over the years, I have noticed quite a bit of growth, perhaps because obviously he came in as a young man, and now he's done 20 years. So obviously there's a lot of growth both in his ministry style, as far as I can personally experience it, as well as in his approach to matters of administration in the church.
I've also noticed that Reverend Kunat knows every member of this church by name. When I mean by name, he knows them by their first name. He knows the names of their spouses, if he's a man or a woman, he knows the names of their spouses, their children, which is a very good attribute of the leader. It means that he also has a close relationship with his members.
Reverend Kunat, from my experience with him, is a very charismatic person. He's a very spiritual person. He's well grounded in the Word of God. He's also a very approachable person. He's someone who you can talk to and relate with. From his sermons in church, he has shown a kind of standard that I would like to set my life to meet up to.
It was one of your powerful ministrations that spurred me to join children's ministry. You really impacted in my life in many ways.
Reverend K, as he is fondly called, is truly a man for all seasons.
Happy 20th anniversary, Reverend Amos Achi Kunat.
Barka da murnan cika shekara 20 a aikin Allah.
Happy 20th anniversary, Reverend Dr. Amos Achi Kunat.
Happy 20th anniversary,
Pastor K,
my G, my husband,
Daddy, coach and cheerleader.
We love you and God bless you. Mwah.